Okay, so let's get rolling. So come on over to your mat and let's start with our bolster nearby, but seated comfortably, any cross-legged configuration. Then bring your hands just behind you and lift up tall into your heart space. Find a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. And twice more, deepest breath in. And let it all go. And one more time, heighten the heart, shoulders deepen. And exhale it all out. And come through neutral space. And then walk the hands forward, coming only so far as the sits bones stay completely rooted. So I'm gonna mute everyone, and then if you need to ask questions or anything at any time, feel free to unmute as well. So walk your hands back in towards you, switch out which leg is in front so that it's the one normally not, and bring the hands behind you again. Find a high rise into the heart, and then start to sway from one hand to the other, creating an opening across the space just below the collarbones. Then through center, lift the heart one more time, deep breath in. Exhale it out. Come up through neutral space and let's walk the hands forward again. Keeping the sits bones rooted is more important than how far forward we fall through the torso. And walk the hands all the way in towards you. Let's take the left hand behind the spine. Right hand over to the left knee, lift up so tall through center, and exhale to twist through the navel, through the rib cage, and even through the broadening of the heart. And inhale through center space. At center, pause and roll the shoulders down the back. And then let's take it to the other side. So right hand back, left hand to right knee, lift up through spine center, and exhale to twist navel, all the way through the floating ribs, through the top ribs, through the heart and the mind. And inhale back through center space. So let's get one more twist here. Let's take our left hand back behind us, right arm lifts tall. Then bring either your wrist, forearm, or elbow to the outer thigh and twist deeply from the navel. And slowly unwind. Roll the shoulders down the back, take the right hand behind you, left arm to the sky, and exhale the elbow or the forearm or wrist outside of the thigh. Use that as a pressure to spin and twist to create revelation. And slowly unwind. So let's flip over the legs and we're gonna come forward onto the navel. So fully down onto the earth. And we're gonna cross our right ankle right behind the left and spin over onto your left hip. From that space on your left hip, lift onto the hands just a little and start to walk them to the left side. You're gonna experience a deep twist in the low side body in your external and internal obliques. And slowly come back onto the forearms through center. Cross your left ankle behind the right and spin over onto your right hip. Then lift onto the hands, lifting halfway. Walk your hands over to the right side, push out through the feet. And slowly roll forward back onto the navel. Use your left forearm as a prop stand diagonally. Bend your right knee. Use your right hand to catch the right foot and draw it towards you just so much as you feel sensation. Make sure that the hip creases are facing forward and down parallel. And with every breath, you start to feel this sink in a little bit deeper. We're opening the top quadricep muscle primarily here, which is also our hip flexor. Slowly release your right foot back. Right forearm diagonal, bend the left knee, and let's catch a hold for the left foot, left hand, and draw the heel towards the outer hip. Hip creases parallel forward entirely. Remembering that deep breathing creates soothing. And left leg releases back. Keep the knees together, hands underneath the elbows. Pull back into knees together version of child's pose. And walk your hands in towards you. Grab a hold of your bolster or the pillows. And we're gonna come into a really similar variation, but we're gonna put the arms right onto the bolster, forehead onto the bolster. When we do that, it creates a support even for the shoulder blades and allows the rib cage to fall forward. One more deep breath in this space. And then walk the hands in towards you, lifting up. Move the bolster right off to the side, and let's come on to all fours, tabletop configuration. And walk your hands one handprint forward. Lean into knee plank. Then let's swing the hips over to the left side. Pause at that space. Really push the hips to the left as the forehead reaches somewhat over your right arm. That should open into the outer hip a little bit. Then come back through center space, through knee plank, and pull your hips back and around towards the right side. Push your hips to the right. Look over your left outer arm, and come back through knee plank. Let's create fluidity with that. So we're gonna swing the hips back to the left, through the line of the heels, and up and around to the right. Go through that motion, circulation, twice more on this side. This is also opening up into a lot of the back to hip attachments. And once you're in knee plank, circulate the other way. Back through the right side to the right heel and forward around through the left. 3 circulations navigating in this direction. And after the final one, land back into knee plank. Bring the hips over the knees and walk the hands forward. Grip down into the fingers, shoulders on the back, armpits stay hollow, and bring your forehead towards or to the earth. Notice how your shoulder blades feel here, and then we're going to open quite a bit more. So even just in this space, bring your left temple down to the earth and draw your left shoulder especially deeper onto the back. And forehead through center, right temple down to the earth, shoulders deepen, especially the right shoulder. And forehead through center. And lift up, walk your hands in towards you until you're on all fours and you can grab a hold for blocks. So we're gonna put the blocks on there lowest setting towards the front of the mat to start, and palms right onto the blocks or books. Hips back over the knees, and slowly bringing the forehead towards the earth again. The shoulders deepen onto the back. And lift up halfway. Let's take the blocks or books onto their highest setting. Fingers gripping over the edges, and we'll come right back into Anahatasana or puppy pose. Keep imagining that the webbing of your hands is broadening forward. Armpits stay hollow. And then one time, lift up a few inches off of the earth. Tuck the chin to the chest. Look in towards the navel. Find a deep breath in. Exhale it out. Slowly let the heart release towards the earth as though it could seep down to the soil. And come back up through center. Let's move the blocks off to the side. And walk your hands, handprint forward, tuck the toes, and push right back into down dog. Pedal through the feet left and right so that we get circulation into a sense of full fluidity. And walk the feet one footprint in towards you. Use your right big toe and second toe right around your left heel. Micro bend the left knee. Send the sits bone towards the sky. And simultaneously, in your down dog, tilt the top of your head towards your right bicep. Left shoulder down the back. Left hip heightening. Getting into the scalenes and hamstrings. Come back through center, release the right foot. Then we'll take left big toe and second toe around the right heel. Micro bend the right knee, but send the sits bone to the sky. And in your down dog, tilt the top of your head to your left bicep and pull your shoulders down the back. And bring it right back through center. Walk your feet forward towards your hands, landing them hips distance. And then walk the hands right up onto the shins. Lift halfway, really lengthen the spine. Feel the leg bones push back, and then slowly fold forward. Walk the hands a little bit forward. Lift high up onto the toes, onto the ball mounds. Lengthen about a quarter of the way through your spine, and then slowly start to walk the hands in, fold in while keeping the heels high. And release the heels down to the earth, folding in 1 inch deeper. Separate the feet apart to mat's distance. And grab a hold, thumbs hook into the elbows. A little wide-legged ragdoll. And another variation, if it feels okay, you can interlace your hands around the back of your head, forearms on the temples, giving that lengthening draw towards the earth. And let's root the hands down and forward. Step your feet back into down dog. And lower your knees down to the earth. Let's sit onto the heels. Feel free to sit onto a block, or if it feels better to swing the legs around and sit cross-legged, all of those are great. So we're gonna take the right hand down, propped up on fingertips. Left arm stretches up over and across to the right side. Shoulders down the back solidly. And then reach forward and diagonal towards the front right corner of your mat. Puff out the left floating ribs. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Inhale through the side body stretch. And from that space, start to broaden your left arm open until it is back at 45 degrees in line with your shoulder. Right shoulder spins onto the back. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Come back through the side body stretch, but we're not quite done with this side. So pause with the side body broadening, but bring your left hand down by your left hip. Let your right ear fall towards your right shoulder. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. And slowly come back through center space. Left fingertips root down. Right arm stretches up over across to the right side. Shoulders down the back so that you feel a stretch in levator scapulae. And then reach forward at the diagonal towards the front left corner of the mat, broadening into the lower back serratus at the back floating ribs. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Side body stretch, shoulders down the back. And then right arm opens back, 45-degree angle into perfect line with the shoulder. Spin the left shoulder back, deep breath in. Exhale it out. And right through the side body, reach again through that wave-like shape and pausing in that space with the torso. Just the right arm is going to come down in line with the hip, palm stays open, thumb back, and then let your left ear really droop towards the left shoulder. Deep breath in, and exhale it out. And slowly re-level off through center. And let's come back onto all fours. And with an inhale, heart stretches forward and bright through the sternum front. And exhale, curl back into cat pose. And again, the inhale gives our heart a broadening through the sternum, through the ribs. And exhale to pull back, reflective as the moon. And let's come back into neutral space. Walk your hands back towards you, and we're gonna find the nearest wall that has opening. So we're gonna get really into the shoulder. This is called shoulder clock. So we're gonna stand about 6 inches from the wall and bring your arm directly up so that basically your arm is going to go from 12 to 1 to 2 to 3 o'clock against the wall. So left hand against the wall, feet together or hips distance. I like right hand on the hip. Shoulder onto the back, imagine clawing with the fingers into the wall. And hips and shoulders stay forward. Walk your hand back to 11 o'clock. Then grip into the fingers, draw the shoulder onto the back. You can keep right hand on the hip or keys fingers onto the front of your shoulder to remind it to stay on the back body. You can even look a little bit over your right shoulder. And when you're ready, bring the arm back to 10 o'clock. And again, grip through the fingers, shoulder on the back. Slight spin of the heart towards the right. And arm back to 9 o'clock. shoulders on the back. Imagine slightly spinning the hips and even the heart towards the right side. And gently let the left arm release all the way down the wall. You'll notice that your right shoulder is still up by your ear, and so we'll go right for the other direction. So we'll bring right arm right up onto the wall, standing 6 to 8 inches away from the wall. Left hand starts on the hip. Grip into the right fingers and draw the shoulder down the back. And walk the hand back to 1 o'clock. Rewrap the shoulder onto the back. You can keep left hand at the hip or piece fingers over to the right front of the shoulder to remind it to steer back, even as you look slightly over the left shoulder. Then bring the arm back to a 2 o'clock. Again, grip through the fingers like clawing into a tree, shoulder back, and looking over your left shoulder. And when you're ready, 3 o'clock with the arm, grip a hold, pull the shoulder onto the back, hips and even the shoulders rotating slightly to the left. And slowly release the arm all the way down the wall. And one more thing while we have a wall. So you're going to use your hands right onto the wall. Walk your hips back so that you have a 90-degree angle through the whole body. Pushing against the wall, tuck your chin into your chest. Deep breath in. And exhale, let that go. Reneutralizing into that wall down dog. Slowly walk the hands up, lift back up through center. And let's re-adjourn on our mats. So grab a hold for your blanket roll. Place it about 6 to 8 inches from the front of the mat. Then we're going to place the front part of the foot right onto the blanket. So just about the front half. You can use a block under the hands if it feels good. And we're going to come right into a fold. And then really fun thing to do, bend just your right knee a little bit. Lift up halfway. And then fold right in towards the thighs. The left leg should feel pretty alive right here. And then re-lengthen both legs evenly. Bend into the left knee only. Lift halfway and fold in. And re-neutralize, lengthening both legs evenly. Place the center of the sole of your foot right across the center line of the blanket. Lift up halfway, and then slowly start to fold in. Notice how each one of these forward folds feels completely different. And here's a really nice one. So grab a hold for both of your books or blocks, and we're gonna stack them. Bring just the heel onto the blanket and bring your hairline onto books or blocks. Notice how much the sits bones can stretch up, but the spine feels like it is uncoiling. And slowly move the blocks to the side, one step forward off of the blankets into a regular forward fold. And pull the blanket off to the side. Step your left foot wide back off the side of the mat behind your right foot. Lift up a quarter of the way And then slowly fold in towards your right knee. We're going to take this in two directions. So first, walk the hands to the right side, lengthen a quarter to a half of the way, and then fold in. And slowly walk the hands through center. Walk your hands to the left, push your hips to the right. Lift about halfway, and slower than molasses, fold in towards your right shin. And step your left foot back to parallel with the right. Let's step the right foot wide back behind outside the left off the side of the mat. Walk the hands to the left side first, lift a quarter to half of the way, and fold in towards the outer left knee. And walk the hands through center. Walk your hands to the right side, push your hips to the left, long spine, and then fold in towards the inner shin. And hands back through center, step the feet back through parallel. Let's root the hands down, step back into down dog. Lower down to the knees, and one more time, Anahatasana. This time you might go for chin towards the earth, heart towards the earth. Maybe forehead towards the earth feels perfect. Okay, so try this with me. From puppy pose, from Anahatasana, right hand is going to come back so that it's in line with your left upper arm, pronged up on fingertips. From there, turn your left temple towards the earth, and you're going to push the outer edge of your left arm towards the earth just a little bit. Should feel pretty mega in your shoulder right there, left shoulder. And through center, release your right hand. And right hand then stays lengthened. Left hand propped on fingers in line with the right upper arm. Turn the right side of the head towards the earth and push your right outermost arm towards the earth. And left arm back through center. And let's walk the hands back in towards us. Have the toes tucked under. Sit back onto the heels with the toes tucked. You can always pull your fourth and fifth toe forward a little bit to give that complete evenness across the foot. It's not a way that we often stretch our feet. So release that, and it feels a little bit crunchy in the foot. So feet flat now, and bring your blanket with you. We're gonna walk the hands back, and two options. Either the knees will lift and you'll pause there, or you'll bring the blanket, walk the knees right up onto it, and that might be perfect level of sensation for your shins and your ankles. So one of those two, and you can rock a little bit side to side. That's gonna massage out the front of the foot and release it back through center. Okay, so let's grab a hold for the therapy balls. And we're going to, I feel like we really need to get the Let's get the traps and then we'll get the IT bands. So balls out of the tote. And a little anatomical discussion here. So trapezius muscle is kind of what we call the linebacker or quarterback muscle, right? So it's all the way from the base area of the skull down through the tops of the shoulders and between the shoulders to about a V point right there. So we're gonna roll the balls along most of that. We're gonna start right at that musculature between the spine and the shoulder blades. So at the top, and we're gonna end up rolling the balls down. So how are we gonna do that with pressure? Well, we're gonna turn and lay on our back, placing the balls right against the trapezius. So not on the shoulder blade, not on the spine, right at that top musculature between. So as you lay back, you should feel a pretty good level of sensation. Then reach your arms up overhead first, and thumbs pointing towards the head, and then reach your arms all the way overhead towards the earth above the head. Spin the pinky fingers in. And if that feels awesome, pause there. If you would like to dig into that decently more, slowly start to lift the hips by pushing into the feet. Push up, back, and down into the balls with the shoulders. And you can roll 1 inch towards your head so the balls move down 1 inch. Make sure that, again, they are between the shoulder blades and the spine, not on any bone except for the rib cage. And roll 1 more inch towards the head. And you can release the hips down to the earth. Try and relax the floating ribs. And 1 inch at a time, you can keep rolling towards the head. Steer clear of the floating ribs. It's like floating candles. We don't want them to submerge. And the last spot that the balls land is right between the middle space of the top to bottom ribs. So center line of the heart. Then the arms can come through a goalpost and even down by the sides. That's releasing your rhomboid muscles at that space, rhomboid major. And let's push down into the elbows evenly. Lift up halfway. Move on to one elbow, pull the balls out to the side, and relax back onto your back for a moment. Letting the thoracic spine and the rib cage resettle. And let's gather the knees in, rock up through seated. And we're gonna get right into the IT band. So let's bring the balls right into the tote. And we're going to come right onto the side. Now, if this does not feel awesome, let me know and we'll go through some other options. But if it feels okay, let's take the balls right under the IT band. So sideways across the thigh. Other foot right in front. So a great thing is you can pause right there. If this does not feel awesome, something else that you can do is you can use your blanket roll right where the balls are instead. That's gonna give something a little bit more gentle. And the reason this feels so much is that it's ligament and connective tissue. Connective tissue has nerves threaded through it, and so we feel a lot. Okay, so you can roll on the balls all the way to hip crease line on the outer edge and all the way to about 4 inches above the outside of your knee. And if you want to experience a little bit more, here's a fun trick. Tilt your toes upwards and roll along that length of the line of the outer thigh. And try turning the toes downwards, the heel upwards, and getting right into that area where the IT band connects towards the quadriceps. That's usually going to be a pretty vivid spot for people. And slowly swing back into seated. Bring your legs around and notice that one leg feels pretty nifty. The other one is still pretty tight. So let's do the same thing on the other leg. So halfway along the outer edge, we'll rock right sideways onto that. Left foot in front. And you can pause in that space. You can have the blanket roll under, or you can roll along the length of the line, outer hip crease, all the way till about 4 inches above the outer knee. And remember, you can play with tilting the toes upwards, getting towards the hamstring area, or toes point downwards, getting right where your IT band connects towards your quads. And slowly we'll release off of the balls. And we're going to come back onto our navel. We're going to get into the quadriceps specifically. And then that one spot that there was a lot of sensation, I'm sure, right around the outer line, quarterways between the front and the side of the thigh. We'll dig into that. So placement-wise, we're going to start and end with the balls right across the center of the thigh. They're going to roll up into the hip crease, right around that like ropey textured muscle, rectus femoris, and all the way down to about 3 inches above the knee. Then we're going to end up landing with the balls halfway again. So we're going to lay forward right onto the balls with our right thigh. You can have your left leg long back, or I like to bring the knee just out to the side. So quick demo of that would be knee just to the side. And then you're going to roll along the quad to the hip crease and walk the forearms forward till about 3 inches above the knee. Go through that motion a few times. Usually the quads and the IT bands are where we're going to find greatest level of sensation, at least with this. Muscular stretching, the hamstrings will be pretty mega. Okay, now try this. Turn the toes outwards and roll along the length of the thigh. And then turn the toes inwards and same thing. Notice where sensation feels solid, almost like rock. It's going to differ for each of us depending on really if we supinate, pronate our feet, how we move, how we align, and the kinesiology basis, how we're moving. Okay, next time you get to the center of your thigh, bring your left leg back to match, tuck your toes under, bend your right knee. Foot towards the sky, keep letting your thigh settle deeper into the therapy balls. Now you can pause there if it feels okay. Left forearm diagonal, reach your right hand for your right foot, draw it in just a little bit. I'm sure it feels real good for the quadricep. So release the grip, and right at that 90 point with the foot still lifted, start to pull your foot out to the side like it's being magnetized off the side of the mat, but staying with the 90-degree bend. Now this is going to be dreadfully wonderful. So slowly start to lengthen the leg circularly all the way back until it lengthens. Then one more time, bend to the 90. Let everything settle. And then release your right leg back. Pull the balls out from under the right thigh, and as you settle forward, you notice that thigh feels incredible. So let's place the balls under the left center of the thigh, horizontal across the front of the thigh, and right knee can come right out to the side. You can have it lengthened back if that feels better though. And let's walk the forearms forward and back, rolling along the whole front line, all the way from hip crease to about 3 inches above the knee. Any spaces that feel tighter than others, you can always pause. And then turn the toes outwards and roll along the space of vastus medialis, the most inner quad. Then turn the toes inward and we got vastus lateralis, which is the outer quad. And then when you get to the halfway point of the thigh, pause there. Feels like it pushes the muscle back to the bone, and bend your your right leg lengthens back, toes tucked under. Bend your left knee, heel towards the sky. And you can pause there if it feels okay. Right forearm diagonal, left hand, left foot. Draw it in a little bit. And release the grip on the foot. Heel directly over the knee. And then start to rotate your left foot out to the left side, like it's pulling you off of the mat to the left. And at that maximal pressure point, start to lengthen your leg circularly all the way back until it's long. Then bend the knee one more time to the 90-degree point. Let everything settle. And then release the leg long back and release off of the balls. So we're gonna do that a little bit deeper right into the hip crease itself. So we're gonna place the balls right on either side of the hip flexor. So the hip flexor starts right, that's that rectus femoris muscle we've been talking about. Starts at the top of the hip bone and goes all the way down the center of your thigh, right to your tibial tuberosity, right at the top of the shin bone. So we're gonna place the balls right on either side of the hip flexor and lay forward right onto that. Tuck the toes under and make sure that it feels like it's really the right spot. We're gonna bend the right knee. Push the hip creases down towards the earth. Maybe you lift the heart a little bit. Should be a really vivid pressure right into the hip crease. But great news. Slowly lengthen your right leg back, release your left toes, flip off of the balls, and you'll notice right now that hip crease is way smoother. So let's do the left side. Horizontal right around the outer edges of the hip flexor itself. Tuck the toes, walk them in. Let's bend into the left knee. You want to make sure you have the right spot for sure. And it's almost like your left knee is trying to lift just about an inch off of the earth. Giving that hip pressure forward and down and the heart scooping up. And slowly release your left leg back, flip off to the side, release the balls. And hands under the elbows one more time, knees together, tight knee, child's pose. And walk the hands in until you're seated on the heels. Grab a hold for your bolster or pillows. We're gonna lay that about right smack dab in the center of the mat. And the back of our heart line, so that back center, right where we landed with the balls at the lowest point before, is where it's going to go over the top of the pillow or the bolster. So we'll sit right onto the pillows or bolster and lay back so that your heart feels like a cascade melted over. I love arms overhead or slightly goal-posted. Letting your heart energy be the highest point. And in this way, we also give a refresh to the brain. And slowly rock off to the side. Roll the bolster or pillows away. And let's grab a hold for the strap or belt. Have that right next to the side of the mat. And let's draw both knees in towards us. Holding on to the shins. And place the feet directly down on the earth under the knees. Let's take the right foot, hook it behind your left heel, and place your left foot on top of your right thigh. Push your right thigh forward, down, and away from you with your left foot. And slowly release left foot. Release the hook of the right foot from behind. And let's draw both knees in towards us. Keep a hold of your right shin, lengthen your left leg to the earth. And simple supine twist, right arm open. The knee comes across towards the left side. Shoulders staying rooted. And gently come back through center. Keep your right shin in, point your right toes towards your left thigh. And without lifting the hip at all, draw your right knee towards your left floating ribs. Should be a pretty different kind of feeling right there. So a little bit of neuromuscular facilitation right here. So let's push our knee into our hands, but keep the pressure with the hands so that the knee doesn't move. And then relax the effort, draw the knee deeper across to the ribs. And gather both knees back in towards you. And place both feet down onto the floor. This time, left foot hooks behind the right heel. Right foot steps up onto the left inner thigh, pushing forward and down. If there's less sensation, see if you can stamp down more through the right foot. And release right foot, release the hook of the foot, and draw both knees back in towards you. Left shin stays in, right leg lengthens all the way along the earth. Flex into your right foot, and when you're ready, left arm open, simple supine twist. Taking the knee across only so much as the shoulders stay rooted, the heart stays open in transformation. And slowly coming back onto the back, keeping the left knee in. Left toes point towards the right thigh, left hip stays rooted. Draw your left knee to your right floating ribs. And then push your knee away from you into your hands. Use the resistance of the hands. And relax the effort. Draw the knee in deeper towards the right rib cage. And slowly come back through center. Knees in. And let's rock up through to seated. So this is a pretty cool thing, whether you have a book or you have blocks. It's pretty epic. A lot of you who are in class with me in the studio, I'm sure remember this one and will be so stoked that we're getting to do it. So the side of the block or the side of the book is going to go right where the back of your leg bone connects to the hip socket. So we're going to sit back and come into figure 4, crossing left ankle right over the right thigh. And we're going to sit up onto the edge of the block. So real quick, you guys who have found that, I'm sure you're like, whoa, found that. So side edge of the block, right along the leg bone to hip connection. And great news is you can rock further over to that side, you might feel it more. You can also lift onto your bottom toes. You can lift your bottom leg. And only if it gives you more sensation, you can come back onto your left elbow. So there's a lot of muscular and ligament and tendon and bone connection there. So when you feel like that's pretty cleared out, come back through center. We'll release off of the block or book and bring it to the other side. So right ankle now is going to cross over the left thigh. And we'll sit up, right hip, right at the back of the leg bone, onto the block. This should be one of the more intense sensations we've experienced this evening. Mostly because we all walk, we all stand, we all sit. These are motions for the leg bone and the hip socket. So feel free to lift onto the bottom toes. You can lift the bottom leg. If it feels useful, you can come onto the right elbow. And remember to breathe so that the sarcomeres expand, which are part of the muscle fibers. And when you feel balanced with the other side, release off of the block. So let's grab a hold for the balls again. They're already in the tote, and we're going to place them right behind the calf, sideways. So horizontal on the back of the calf, and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. We're going to roll so that the balls can come all the way around the heel, and then pause them about 2 inches before the back of the knee. That's called the popliteal area, and we don't really want to put too much pressure on that because it's a very venous area. It's also pretty delicate. There's like stuff of the knees. So great news, you can turn your toes inwards or outwards, and that way you're getting either the medial or lateral gastrocnemius. Depending on your walking structure, you're going to feel one side more than the other. So after that calf feels pretty cleared out, pause between sides, notice the circulation level on the right, and let's go right to the left. So same thing on the left side, crossing right ankle over, and rolling up and down the length of the calf. And remembering that you can turn toes in or out. You might notice that this feels different than a month ago, right? Less driving, and so one leg that typically feels it more might not. Transitions in the body. Okay, slowly release that. Release the legs. And now let's grab a hold for our strap. So we're gonna get a little bit into the hamstrings and the adductors. So bring your strap with you as you lay back onto your back. Heels underneath the knees, and then right foot ball mount, center of the strap. One side of the strap in each hand. Flex the toes back towards the shin. Deep breath into the length of the leg. And then just centimeter by centimeter, draw your shin towards you. And then here's the real fun of it. So back to that proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, keeping the most microest bend in the knee, try and push your heel away from you and push into your ball mount while keeping the hip rooted. All of a sudden it sends this searing sensation in your leg. Now relax that effort, but keep the leg long and see if the shin draws in just another inch with ease. And bring the heel directly over hip level. And we'll do 2 components here. So right hand onto the strap, left arm open. Left knee is going to open as much as the right long leg opens. So that gets right into the adductor, the inner thigh muscles. And when you feel ready, leg through center. So this is specific. Left foot walks forward 1 footprint away from you. Left hand to the strap, right arm open. Bring your leg about a third of the way across you without lifting the hip. Flex into the toes. Maybe the sensation is right there for you. Maybe the toes draw closer towards your left shoulder an inch. And slowly bring your right leg right back through center space. Release the strap and figure 4. So right ankle crosses left thigh. Hands can reach through for left back of thigh or front of the shin. Working the low back even. And keeping that flex in the right foot. And release left foot down. Release the cross. And let's take the strap around the left foot ball mound so that we balance everything out. And one side of the strap in each hand, micro bend of the knee, keeping the leg long. At first, noticing how it feels with every inhale to lengthen and every exhale to draw towards you, just as much as dew drops off of a rainforest. Now, keeping the micro bend in the knee, hip rooted, try and push the foot away from you and against the strap. Feel that building of inner tension, of intention, so that then one more deep breath in and exhale, let the effort release and let the shin draw towards you effortlessly. And strap into the left hand, right arm open, right knee opens just at the same pace as the left long leg. And bring it back through center. Right foot, 1 footprint, steps forward away from the body. Strap to the right hand, left arm open. Keep the hip rooted and bring the leg, about a third of the way across the body. And slowly through center, release the strap, cross ankle over thigh for figure 4. Hands behind the right thigh or in front of the shin. Working to keep the low back even, the hips even as the left ankle draws in. And slowly release. Release the cross. Gather the knees in. And let's rock up through seated. So grab a hold for either some pillows to sit, the blanket to sit, or if you're like, hey, it's time to lay down, cool, meet me there. Whatever is going to be the most meditative for you is where we're gonna meet. We're gonna go through a little drifting practice. So find your ideal configuration for meditative deepening. And as you begin to soften and settle the body, notice the way that the effort of breathing softens the edges of the mind, soften. And in this space of presence of the self, imagine that you were sitting or that you were laying down inside of a nice golden hammock, as though this hammock was over a sanded beach with the ocean right next to you. And the way that the wind moves starts to sway you side to side. Feel that motion as though you were within the breeze of the wind, of the ocean wind. And then allow yourself to energetically tumble out the side, noticing in the space of pure consciousness where you drift, being present with that, with the internal journey. And if at any point you return and would like to re-venture, simply sit or lay into the hammock. And again, feel the drift and the tumble through beyond space, beyond time. And if you have drifted, feel your energy body sitting or laying back into physical form, into your embodiment. Deepest breath in through the nose. Hold it at the very top. Exhale through the mouth. Find 2 more cycles of breathing, just like that. Allowing ourselves to feel entirely and to release completely. And finding your way slowly back, letting the fingers move slowly, inspired. If you're seated, letting the shoulders roll back. If you're laying down, maybe a full body stretch. Finding our way back through slowly to meet each other seated. We'll meet with palms together. For that is the message. Where we meet, you and I, the divine and us, we create impact, impression of the heart, and that is connection. That is yoga. Thank you each so much for coming to share your practice, your evening, and the absolute brilliance that you are. To that, we share, offer, and say, Namaste. Okay, so I hope you guys are feeling awesome and that the rest of the night is really smooth. I'm gonna unmute everyone so we can do our little check-in. Okay, cool. Maybe, okay. Okay, how are you guys feeling? Good. Thanks for meditating with me at the end too, guys. That's always like the best thing. Cool. So anytime that you have requests, let me know and we'll do anything that you guys are feeling in your body. And like aside from that, everyone doing okay?
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thank you guys. I mean, honestly, this is like my favorite time of the whole entire week is this class with you guys, truly. So cool. We'll keep doing it, and I hope that we can like reopen the studios soon. I miss everyone. I miss like human connection, and like this is rough, huh, guys? Like it's this daily thing of more and more trust in what will be, and you know, trying to not plan too far but be fluid with things and also have some kind of structure. It's crazy. Okay, cool. Yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome night. If you have requests for anything, feel free to reach out through here or Facebook, Instagram, whatever, so that we can keep in touch and so that we can work out anything that you guys really want to work out.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.